All right, welcome inside Lecom Harbor Center for the Sabres Development Camp 2023 edition. Dan Dunleavy, Rob Ray, and a special guest joining us this time. First time we've had this gentleman join us on Sabres Development Camp broadcast day. And everybody knows Chris Baker from his work with Sabres Prospects. Now you're going to know the voice a little bit more because now you've reached the big time. I know you've been on radio shows in and around town, but this is the big time.
Yeah, he's dressed really nice too. Not for an arena.
Well, I'm always ready to go to the golf course.
Judge his intelligence level here just because of the way he's dressed, but other than that, welcome.
Well, it's great to be in the presence of greatness. Free air conditioning today. I think some fans here packing the building here, starting to filter in. We've had a good camp to date here, slowly ramping up the pace over the first 3 days of practice. Maybe we'll see some post-July 4th fireworks today on the ice. Well, some of these new prospects.
You're already broadcast punting, so that's good. I will say this about the crowd, because I do think it matters, and the players have talked about it. Even I, sitting on the first day, kind of looked around maybe half an hour before things started, and I thought, this might not be that well attended. There'd be a few people. The place was jammed by the time that they got practice rolling, and it really did kind of continue throughout the week. Says a lot about this community. Razor knows it better than you and I for playing in front of these fans. But this is a new generation. You got a lot of young fans that have been here all week long. And the interesting thing is, and Rob, you can speak to it too, because your son is probably at that age, they know everything about all these guys. They know more than we do. Well, not more than you. They know more than you and I, we can admit, about all these guys. And that's the hockey world we live in now.
The thing is, as soon as you start hearing kids' names being talked about, these kids are looking them up because they do have that interest. They have the opportunity to see, their skill level, things that they do. They put a lot of things out on social media, obviously training, highlights and all this kind of thing. So the names are more noticeable than probably in the past 10 years, because these guys make an attempt to get it out there, to sell themselves a little bit. It's just the way the world works now. So there is that interest. They own the names. They know the guys, so they want to see it in person. I think it's fantastic. You look around this building, there's tons of kids in here, and that's what you want. The interest is here. The excitement's here. So if you can build it for a group of young guys like this that are going to be a few years down the road from being a part of the organization, it's just going to grow and have more and more people here once the big guys get back to camp.
Chris, we should probably get your thoughts real quick while the teams are warming up here for the first game, which will be Team Martin against Perot. We'll get into the format of this thing in just a minute. But your thoughts overall on the Sabres. Look, every team's happy with their draft. I get it. Every team says they got the players that they wanted. You have the, luxury a little bit of being close to the team, but also on the outside looking in and watching all these kids year round. How would you grade it? Sabres do, I'm not going to say good job, but did they indeed fill the cupboard the way they wanted to at this recent draft?
I think so. If you pay attention to how Kevin Adams and Jerry Fortin talk about what it means to be a Buffalo Sabre, they talk about hockey IQ, they talk about compete, and of course skating and skill. If you look at the first round pick in Zach Benson, it's not just what he does with the puck, it's his mature game off the puck. I think they hit the mark there. When you looked at their organizational needs coming into this year's draft, they had a clear need to get more defensemen of different types into the system. They had just very few. You can count them on one hand how many prospect defensemen they had coming into the draft. So if you look at what they did in the second round there, they got another big forward, but they followed it up with a very strong, sturdy defensive defenseman who's got a budding two-way look to his game. But all of these guys that they picked checked those boxes of that compete, the hockey IQ, the character, the skill, and whatnot. So I think they hit the mark there.
And Chris, I think the big thing, too, is a little more size.
Right.
And you touched on it there. We got a plethora of offensive defensemen that are not the biggest stature. They addressed that size. They brought in some bigger guys to give them a chance, and guys that are going to be, even grow even more than what they are to this point. So you're right there where they realized the hole, they filled it, and not only did it in the draft, they did it in free agency as well.
100%. The fact, too, that none of these players are expected to rush to be who they're going to be at this point. I think, how does that help the development of a player when that they're drafted and they still have this road, and they're aware that their road to development is still I don't want to put a number of years ahead, but they realize that, hey, there's no pressure. Yes, they want to make the team today. I get it. But the pressure even this week isn't put on them that, hey, you got to make the team these 4 or 5 days you're in town, and you got to show us what you got. That's not been the message here.
Well, we came through the last 5 years of Sabres hockey where some of these prospects quickly shot up from draft to, it's like flash to bang.
And there was a good reason for that, right?
Yeah. They don't need to do that anymore. I think it's time to start resetting expectations, and along the way, install that winning tradition in Rochester. When these players are ready to get there, you start winning there. You can start winning in Buffalo a lot quicker, and you get better groups of guys playing together. Rob, you know this.
You've got more time to let them grow to mature together, and we always talk about being in the minors. That's where you grow together as a group. But they've got time now for these kids to allow them to mature. They're not going to have to force them into situations like in the past few years, and some succeed, some fail, but there's a better chance of these kids succeeding now because they're going to have more time. And as you said, that pressure isn't on them, not only as a player, but as an organization to try to find them a spot to play.
So let's talk about number 13 overall and what you thought of Zach Benson for his few days here. Quickly, I will just say, for what it's worth, already you can see how competitive of a player that he is. Again, realizing what this camp is, which is more, as Rob said, it's a get to know, understand the city, the team, establish relationships amongst the group of guys that are here now with you now, because there might be a couple of them that are along for the ride with you as a Sabre. But you can sense pretty early on that he wasn't out here to woo anybody, but he comes to work.
Just watch as the pace is elevated for the first 3 practices. You've seen him, with the puck, he's great. He's got a great skill level. He's snapping the puck around in the possession drills. He's, he's competing. And
to be fair, at 13 overall, you would expect that.
Of course, of course. But I think what I've been impressed with was he's very mature, just not his game on the ice, but also in the press availability. He's talking about, hey, we're here to work. Of course you want to become a better player, but you want to make your teammates better along the way as well.
I did notice that comment,
and I think that speaks to his competitive nature, but how he wants to not only use it singularly, but again, for the benefit of the team and the group. So he's an impressive player. It's going to be interesting to see his next couple of years of development and what he does going back to the Western League next year, because really, after Connor Bedard, I don't know if there was a more prolific scorer last year in junior hockey, really, think about it.
But people can't sit here and judge today either, or this week, if the kid doesn't fill the net with the pucks, because, it was a conversation we had the other day. You have to adapt, and you're going to adapt to your game at this level, because the higher you go, the more it's going to change, and you're going to be specialized. So you might have scored 50 goals in junior, but you might only end up scoring 15 or 20 in the NHL. And that kid has to understand that too, so he doesn't think that, I'm not doing my job. I didn't have a great camp because I didn't score 1 million goals, which they expected me to because of, my past history. So, I think this starting right now is where not only the player but the organization starts understanding exactly what they're capable of doing at this level, and they can start honing on that as they're moving forward.
Yeah, Razor, I think the cold water gets dumped on his face in the fall when he comes to his first NHL camp, and they're hitting.
That'll be a big difference.
And that's really when he starts to test his mettle and understand what he needs to do to play at that level when everyone's as big, as skilled.
This gives him a month and a half to go back and kind of work on those little things.
All right, so here are the rules for the 3-on-3 French Connection tournament. 3-team round-robin format, 12-minute stop-time games, 10-minute warm-up for all games, 5 minutes between for goalie warm-up and rest, and for Razor to find some food. Ice flood after round-robin. Championship will be a 15-minute stop game. 2 points for a win, 1 point for a shootout loss. You lose. We'll give you a point. You couldn't score. We'll be nice to you. And no points for a loss. There's an idea. Seeding is determined by points. If the teams are tied, tiebreakers are as follows. Remember this, head-to-head, goals for, goals against. Then we'll get into expected goals for and expected goals against and all that. I just wanted to get a look at it.
I expect it to be a very high-scoring affair today.
No hitting.
Yeah,
as Rob leaves the building.
Yeah, Rob.
The horn will buzz at 1 minute intervals for line changes. As long as it doesn't start a twitch anywhere, we'll be fine. You have to retain possession before changing. Goalie freeze, change of possession. There's all sorts of rules going on here. All right, we found some food for you, Razor.
We really want to get these guys comfortable early in their careers of no hitting. So it's a good way to start.
All right, so it better be Team Martin against Robert to start out, and away we go. And we'll see what can happen here with Lacassen getting a chance to move it up ice. And very quickly, a 2-on-1. We'll see a lot of these. Nadeau with a chance, and he scores the first goal of the 3-on-3.
Olivier Nadeau in his office there scored about 30 goals last year from about 3 feet and in.
Well, the good thing is he drove to the net. He realized it was going to be a 2-on-1 from the red line in, and he just buried his head, got to that far post. You know, that's just basic hockey right there with the kid keeping the fundamentals straight, not trying to be fancy.
Nice to see Ryan Johnson out there. He talked this week about how he just feels a little more, I guess, lifted, if you will, a little weight off his shoulders. He knows where he's going to be, where he's going to play, and now he can just get down to work. And right now trying to defend the first entry down the far side of the ice and actually force a play outside of the zone. And we'll see how Team Blue, there's our first buzzer to get a line change in, and that comes with possession. 3 back in the neutral zone, looking to defend. And some pretty good speed breaking in as Sardarian plays it in behind the net. This is Carlson bringing it out front. He'll lay it back. Sardarian fires one. That goes wide. Along for the ride is Hughlin. And that puck will get off his stick. Now a chance to break the other way. Miedema. 2-on-1. Trailer puts that one just wide. Miedema on the far side. Well, Destride trying to keep it in, but he's beaten to the puck, and Hughlin will come back. He's got Sardarian trailing on the play, and now a chance to come quickly back the other way. I like how right after the goal, they just put the puck back in play. We keep moving. That's not a bad idea just for life in general, so we get a save down this end of the ice.
Well, that's what these guys do all summer. There's never stoppage of time. Ice is too valuable for when they're going out trying to be in condition, so they don't take the time. They just pull it to the net, keep going, and that is just shinny hockey there that these guys are so used to playing at this point of the season.
Good for the viewer, challenging for the play-by-play man.
Oh, no, I like it. Keep it moving. It's Scott Ratzlaff and TJ Septenfelter, the goaltenders, for this first game again with the 12-minute clock here for this one. One man in front of the net. The pass out in front was picked off, and a nice job defensively there by Shirk Lawson. And that allows Team Perot to get back up ice.
Penalty coming here.
In across the line, Wahlberg. He'll drop it back. Good defensive position again by Lawson. The Brampton, Ontario native will bring it up ice. Lawson, Shirk. Lindgren. Trying to get back to Lindgren in front of the net, but that puck got away from him. He'll take it off the boards, but there with possession going to Team Perot, they get a change. And very quickly, the benches were hollering about how that change went.
You have to maintain possession after the buzzer goes and give it to your own player.
Olivier Nadeau working on the near side. 4th round pick, 2021. Not kept in there for long. This is Kisakov. Nice drop pass. Richard with a backhand, and that one ties the game.
Jake Richard, goal-scoring knack, does it again there. You know, big-time shooter, but really good hands in tight around the net, as you just saw there, burying that feed.
6th-round pick, had himself a pretty good year in the USHL, I believe, last year.
Yep, over a point a game, going to go to UConn in the fall and jump right into Hockey East. And, you know, just a guy who wants to get a little quicker as he goes and get a little more boost of acceleration over the next couple of years here.
Another possession change, a 1-1 with 7:54 remaining in this first game of the 3-on-3 tournament. Hughlin had that one just a little bit out of his reach. In behind the net there, defended by Sturbat. Second rounder over at the far side. That'll come all the way back out to center ice and roll on end. Back to Scott Ratzlaff.
Yeah, Dan, they're just jumping right in. The pace is, there's no feeling out period here. This is up and down hockey. It's going to be fun here for the next hour or so.
They've certainly had that opportunity to do that all week long as Sardarian lost the puck. And now it's a chance on a breakaway chance. That shot sent just wide as Matteo Constantini had a look, bouncing puck. That is punched out of the zone. And now here's a chance of Sardarian on a buzzer change. It's almost like you need a line clock there, Razor, so you can know you got to shoot.
Well, that's where the communication from the coaches on the bench should be letting him know. I'm kidding. Letting him know how much time's left, you know, to get that shot. But awareness is the players. You're watching the players here a lot of the time. They realize the format here. They've got a certain amount of time on the ice, the minute, and they're looking as they're going down the ice just to make sure that, you know, what they have left here before they can get the shot off. So very good awareness, actually.
Shirk plays it off the boards, and now it'll be Shodin bringing it in across the line. He's got support from Lindgren. Shirk's gone to the net. That one just off the edge of the stick. And now the battle in behind the net with Chris Jandrick trying to get it back for Team Martin. And McCarthy's pass will go a little bit too far out of the reach. And I have to say that Gavin McCarthy's had himself a pretty, I think we're talking to Rob, for good reason, comfortable few days here because he knows this place so well. But it's shown in how he's handled the drills and kind of been a leader here.
Yeah, you know, he looks like a rear gate skater, moves the puck really well there. A little missed shot there on that pass, but for the most part, he just sees the ice really well. He's big. He gets up the ice pretty quick. So something to be said for skating in a place and training with the guys and all that kind of thing for probably a number of years that he's been able to do it. And then stepping in and having your camp here, it takes that little bit of a pressure off. It's a little more of a homey feeling. So he does have the advantage in that area.
Team Martin trying to gain the line. Broke it up. And now Richard over on that far side. Kishikov joins the play. Had that one roll off the end of his stick. Kind of bounced on him a little bit. There's Richard in front of the net. Johnson last on the play. Nice move to get around him. And now here's a break. Back the other way. Lucassen to the net, makes the move, and a nice play to stay with it there by Sentenfelter.
Lucassen, one of those players coming into today, he's a defenseman in Swedish second division, but one of those guys, high skill, offensively minded. You think he would really enjoy a lot of the room he was going to have on the ice today and be one of those guys going to jump up and make plays like he just did. Just couldn't finish it off.
There's a nice jumping up into the play there by Constantini. Well, that looked right in front of the net that stopped, keeping it tied at 1-1 that time. Scott Ratzlaff. Well, back the other way. That one off the iron. Sardarian's had himself a couple of good shifts here already.
Now you just notice here getting late.
Yes. Just thinking that. Here's Miedema trying to backhand, and that one is stopped.
I know it's only a few minute games, but as you're getting late, you're going on every other shift here. You see fatigue starting to set in here a little bit because these guys were probably so fired up to be out here. Kind of drains you a little bit, and these are long shifts. A minute is a long time to be on the ice, so.
Yeah, no need to shorten the bench.
Yeah,
the bench is already short.
It'll catch up with you quick.
All right, Team Martin, 3:48 left here in game one of the 3-on-3, tied at 1. Bouncing puck, kept in at the line, and a nice play by McCarthy. Walks right down the middle and puts that one off the crossbar. Off the netting, stays in play. Sentenfelter reaching out with a goal cue just to knock that one away. Well, the blue team here doing a nice job of puck possession, and McCarthy down to the right corner with it. Watched pretty closely by Shodin. And now Team Perot gets it back with a 2-on-1. There's the tired legs coming in. Shirk's going to walk it in. He's got a line mate with him. And a good save by Retzlaff over at the far post.
Retzlaff looked good. The first goal he gave up, the only goal, kind of got flat-footed in front of the net, stumbled across, but ever since he's just been right on.
Yeah, not the biggest goaltender, Rob, but you see how he presents himself bigger. Similar to Devin Levi in that way. They're not the longest guys out there, long limbs, long legs, but they definitely use their upper body to become a little bigger up top.
McCusson, right side, nobody at the far post. Team Perot with another breakaway chance. Richard lifts the leg in with the deke, makes it 2-1.
Nice move, lifted up his leg, give a little kick there, threw the goaltender right off, and able to finish it. That was an excellent job.
Meanwhile, trying to tie it back the other way. Septon-Felter with the save, and Richard's going to have that one get away from him. So the Florida native, who just gave his team a 2-1 lead with 2:12 to go, now on the offense again. Richard, he's held the puck a lot during practice here today. Aims to shoot. He's a shooter for sure. That one is stopped that time by Retzlaff. And we'll get a change here with just under 2 minutes.
You know, Dan, one of the things you look for coming to these camps year after year is that how does that player progress? Last year we saw Jake Richard coming out of the draft. A little slowish, a little sluggish, just finding his way. A lot more power this year in the skating game. You can see it, the drivetrain is there and it's kicking in.
Well, that's the great thing about having these kids come to camp. They're able to see the trainers here, the development guys are able to see exactly what every kid needs to work on. And they spend the whole season traveling around, going to see these kids, working out with them, whether at their college or junior, wherever they may be, to improve all the little things that they need to fix.
Retzlaff stops a 2-0. Constantini went for the finish. Now a breakaway. Now we're starting to open things up a little bit here. Late stages. And a good stick by Septon-Felter. And of Arizona State and the Boston Bruins junior hockey program. Constantini with a minute to go. Try to center that one in front, but it's going to come to the blue line. And we'll get a line change. And there's a few men on the ice still trying to get to the bench in the 3-on-3.
Looked like a squirt game over
I would
there.
just hold on to them. I just hug them, keep them out there.
Been there. Goalie's being pulled here for the blue team.
With 44 seconds to go and a breakaway chance to tie it up. And Septon-Felter stayed with it all the way, forcing that play wide. Jendrick plays it down to the corner in behind the net. Shirk keeps it against the wall with 29 seconds to go. Now it pops free. It's kept in the zone. Wahlberg off the wall right side, cuts to the middle. That's going to get to the line and out with 18 seconds remaining. As Team Perot trying to hang on here and win game one of this 3-on-3. Team Martin, though, other ideas, far post and a good defensive play to knock that one down. I think that was Shodin who got his stick in the way. Out in front again. Pass into the middle of the ice. Oh, what a save. Rebound. They score right at the buzzer.
It's counting.
I think
counting.
that does count.
Yeah.
Referee says yes.
Something following. He's arguing it down there with the referees, but the referee right behind the net called it a goal. Why not? 2-2.
Wow, talk about
with a little net empty, the extra skater, 4-on-3, Nathan Pache. Great coaching call over there, makes it work.
Well, great you brought up the coaches because obviously they're doing most of the work throughout the week with these
Timmy
players.
Kennedy's on the other bench here today, and you know we talk about these guys, the development coaches. This is their opportunity. They want to be on the bench at this area. You know, it's great for the coaching staff, management of the Sabre team to be up top.
This is Jake Richard with the first shootout attempt.
And just kind of watch, but this gives these guys an opportunity to see what they're like on the bench, see the little things that you might not notice from sitting up in the stands, and then they can put a plan together to work with each individual kid throughout the season.
Aaron Hughlin trying to go top corner, and it was there, but he missed the mark. Septon-Felter came out just enough to maybe take a bit of that daylight away. It's easy to say it's there from up here. Now you'll see why we always say, oh, you have a lot of room up there. Yeah, go stand in front of him and say that.
Kizikov here trying to get one on the board.
You calling goal here, Chris?
No.
Well, too late now. He already made the save.
Yeah, Retzlaff, nice job, though. You see how he kept his body up? a lot of younger goalies are going to fall forward. Even guys in the NHL, they lunge forward, and that opens the up top. But he kept his body vertical there, and he was able to make the save.
Wahlberg, Teak, and Septenfilter. Nice play getting to that far post.
He's got nice pads. He keeps them tight to the ice there, and he gets post to post. So when you're going in to make that move, you got to know he's going down. You got to get it up higher over the top of him. He's quick.
We saw a pretty crazy shootout move last year from Mats Lindgren. What does he have today?
Yeah.
Little simpler and a miss.
Ratzlaff get a piece of that with a block?
Yeah, he did.
I think he did, yeah.
Yep.
I like the hands on the previous shooter, Anton Wahlberg. Big guy. I thought he had a pretty nice game there. Nice hands, just couldn't connect.
All right, let's see what Sardarian comes up with. Very slow on entry this time. Keeps her moving and rips it.
Little Kuznetsov action there, Ray?
Yeah, it is. You got to stay with him as a goaltender. You're waiting for him to make that first move, and you got to pray that your reflexes are quick enough to make the save when it happens. But
wins it for Team Martin. Third-round pick, 2021. University of New Hampshire, Chris, for...
Yeah, you know, he got his season going in the second semester last year, started getting a little more minutes, taking on more responsibility. Actually scored a beautiful shootout goal that made the rounds in the highlights in Hockey East last year. A little bit of a different style goal, but he's a high-skill player. Came over the first year of post-draft, had to get adjusted culturally, played in the USHL with Youngstown. That cultural adjustment continued going into college hockey next year, or last year, and we'll see. You know, he's just got to keep breaking off more responsibility. UNH is going to be a program on the come-up, kind of like Michigan State with Maxim Sturbach. Same type of situation.
You say when he came over from Russia, was it many years ago, or I mean?
No, he was drafted out of Russia.
Right.
And
so
then
drafted out, and came right away.
And then came right away. Cultural adjustment took him a little while to get over. Got caught up in immigration paperwork, but you know, he made a mark. You could see the skill in the hands every time he plays.
Yeah.
Now it's just about rounding out his game.
Yeah, and that is a big thing. I'll tell you, we have kids that even leave here, you know, at a certain age, playing the junior Sabres development side, and they go to, you know, prep schools, or they're going to go to the USHL or the Null or something like that. And if you're not mature enough sometimes, or you've been, you know, kind of, your parents always doing everything for you, and then all of a sudden you're put in a situation where, yeah, a lot of the times you're at billets and they help you out, but it's just not the same. Just being comfortable, in that home with the organization, being in the country. For a lot of guys, I've seen it really destroy a lot of guys. You know, coming up through junior, they couldn't handle being away like that. The pressure from school and everything they have to do to perform. And then, but the cream kind of comes to the top. If guys can make that adjustment, and the quicker they can make that adjustment, not only to that, it'll help them moving forward. And a lot what you learn from being in that situation helps you when you get to this point. So I don't think enough people put enough emphasis on that is such a big deal.
You're not just developing hockey players. You're developing human beings, right? And it takes patience from the player, takes patience from the coaching staff where they are playing, takes patience from the organization that drafts the player. It's a process, and a lot of times that gets lost.
Hey, you know what? My wife goes away for a week. I'm lost. I don't know what to do in most cases. She's got to be leaving me notes and telling me what to do. So it doesn't change sometimes. So it's everybody out there kind of experienced that. And for these guys being in this high-pressure situation every day going to the rink, it's difficult.
All right, so it'll be Team Martin against Team Robert coming up next. When you look down the Team Robert lineup, of course, we've talked about Zach Benson already. But for those of us who are just joining, first-round pick, 13th overall in the recent draft out of British Columbia, of course, played in Winnipeg. How much do you – I mean, it seems simple, but he knows a couple of current Sabres really, really well, which I would think would lead you to think that you'd like to see signs that he's not that far away from the NHL where – perhaps, you know, those three guys hit the ice together and have that instant chemistry.
Yeah, I don't think Zach Benson's a guy, you know, we talked earlier about resetting expectations and slow cooking a lot of these guys.
I'm not saying to rush him, but, you know. It's,
no, but he's a player that I don't see a lot of runway that's going to be needed for him. You know.
Yeah, because people talk about what else is he going to do in the Western League right now.
Well, it's reasonable to think he's going to go back and play juniors next year. Yeah. Winnipeg's relocating to Wenatchee, Washington. We don't even know if Benson will be there, if they start selling off some assets to kind of rebuild that program. That remains to be seen.
A lot going on there, you're right.
Right, but I think, you know, he's a kid, though. He looks poised to come out today and put on a show. He's got a lot of ice to work with here in this 3-on-3. There's no hitting. His skill game should really shine, and he's got some pretty nice line mates at the forward ranks.
And you watch him out there. He's talking to everybody. He's talking to the referees, talking to the opposition. He's talking to the coaches on both sides. I think this is a kid that has benefited from his upbringing. His family owned the carnival, obviously, in British Columbia, traveled all over, so they're always communicating. You know, they're always working. He was working since he's a young kid, so I think just that environment, you know, it comes out in him, and it helps him here to feel comfortable around strangers.
He's very engaging.
Yes.
Very engaging. And you look at the young group that they have up here in Buffalo right now, from, you know, Tage and Tuck at the top, all the way down through that lineup, the younger guys. He's going to fit right into that group. And I'm not saying Matthew Savoy won't, but they're different personalities. It's nice to look at him.
More outgoing, Benson. He's a guy that it just seems like you want to have confidence and you want to have a little bit of a cocky side, but I think his confidence oversees his cocky side. You know what I'm trying to say here, that that's not what he's coming out with there, thinking, oh, I'm the first round pick coming in here. No, that's just his personality, the way he is.
All right, so Team Martin in the blue jerseys here. They are going to be the team, as Razor mentioned, with the 1-minute shifts, feeling it a lot more than Team Robert playing their first game. So let's see if Team White can take advantage of that early. And we'll see how Team Blue can kind of drive through the burn. Although maybe that burn in the legs is gone now. Maybe it's a little more free-flowing. We'll find out as Anton Wahlberg carries it down deep into the zone to start it off from left to right. Now Benson digs it out of the corner. And he sees his line mate up ahead, and this is Bernston carrying it across the line. The drop pass is picked off and quickly sent the other way. And we saw the teams really starting to kind of get that one-man high quickly out of the zone here to try to catch the other side. Perhaps that'll be a...
Yeah, I think you'll see that a little more as the game goes on.
For Team
guys
Martin,
are getting a little bit tired.
Team Martin to be doing it right away.
Sabres fans getting their first look here at Anton Wahlberg after being drafted last week. 6'3", 195-ish pounds. He's done a lot of different things already, though, in the few shifts that he's had. Protected the puck really well. And we got a goal here from, looks like Gustav Karlsson.
Yeah. Continue on. You can finish.
No, I was going to say, though, with Wahlberg, you know, he's going to be a player that it looks like even if the offense doesn't come around, he's going to be hard to play against. Again, he's still very young. Just had his 18th birthday on the 4th of July. But to see him move in open ice, the skating game and the hands are there. He's not just going to be one of these guys you plug in on your fourth line. There's a skill element to him as well, and it's showing out.
Talking about him with the Sabres scouts during this week, you know, they did say they didn't expect as we get a 3-on-1 here to try to take a 2-0 lead. But that shot goes up over the net by Karlsson that time. They did say that they didn't expect he'd be here for the Sabres taking, so we had a glove save.
Ratzel's got that backhand dialed in. They're not beating him anymore.
He does. Here's Karlsson the other way with a 2-on-1, and that's blockered away. So we probably should mention that that's Nathan Airy, I believe, in goal.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Down the other, I think.
Yeah.
Down one end. Here's Benson at center. Across the line. Good look at his speed there, trying to drive the defense back. Drop pass to a late pick, but an interesting one for the Buffalo Sabres. And Norwin Panocha, we'll get you to talk about him as time works along here. The shift now back the other way for Team Martin in the offensive zone. Looking to stretch the lead to 2-0, but that's taken away by Benson. Digging in with the strides, and look at that, getting back. That was, all three guys were busting to get back and take that one away.
And a smile on his face even after he was checked from behind. But you know what? That's the kind of attitude you have to take, because everything is not going to be perfect out here, and he's going to have times when he's going to struggle. And if you have that attitude of, okay, it's going to get through, it's nothing bad, it's not going to be, you know, this isn't the end of the world, it makes it so much better. And hopefully he's able to continue that attitude and personality.
Now McCarthy, nice move to Byroom, and he rips that one home for a 2-0 lead for Team Martin.
Change the shooting angle there at the last minute, right? The old cone drill.
Yeah, just kind of pulled it in a little bit, put it far side just inside the post, and the goaltender had already committed.
Berntsen on the attack that time. Niehaus along the wall, plays it to the far side. Middle of the ice is there. On a nice drive, Niehaus late, holds it, makes a move, shot doesn't get through. As it's Team Robert looking to get on the board here, down 2-0 with 8:05 to go.
Yeah, Ratzlaff, that first goal he gave up, he was just kind of like uncomfortable, but he has settled in here. He's very athletic. It looks like he uses his stick very well too. A lot of goaltenders just keep that stick tight to you and allow the room for the player to make the move in front. He's got the poke check out an awful lot, trying to use it on different angles.
No, that's a good point, Rob. He uses it the right way. He's not going fishing. He's using it as an asset.
Nice cut to the net by Novikov.
Yeah, Ratzlaff looks at his blocker like there was a problem with it, so it's got to be.
Nicholas Savoie with the feed. Here's Carlson trying to feather that one through. Sarderi in the trailer. Looking to send that one back in front of the net for Hughlin. Carlson able to keep it in. Now backs out of the zone as they're thinking about a change here. They're keeping an eye on the clock with now 7 to go, and there's the horn, buzzer, beeper, whatever you want to call it. So another close one here is Lukashin brings it in across the line and taking on Panocha one-on-one on the zone entry. Niehaus broke up the play. Benson will give it back to him. Back to Benson again. Benson in tight. Can't jam that one in. Now a race for it. And the legs for Konechny. Keep driving. He gets the puck back again. Tried to go between the legs. He did. Pad save is made. Back in front. And the play along the wall. At the line, Lukashin keeps it in.
Nice D-stick there.
Nice idea as well by Nadeau in front of the net. Now Benson back the other way. Cuts in. Nice defensive play to keep him out of that shooting lane. All right, Lukashin, and we get a whistle.
You notice that about Zach Benson right away. Every time the puck hits the stick, his head is up. He's quickly scanning. He doesn't have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
He's moving and he's looking.
The one thing is when he carries down the puck, he's waiting for something to develop. He takes the puck wide. He waits for something to develop, get the second and third guy to catch up to him.
He's got some of that 10 and 2 like Skinner too.
Well, yeah, because he realizes he's not going to beat the D, so why, go on one-on-one with him and possibly lose the puck or turn it over? He's waiting for that help. He's waiting for things to happen, so the patience in his game is very good. Ransom, a little pass there to the referee.
Play broken up at center, so Team Martin getting the line, but Neauchev forcing the play back to the blue line with 5:10 to go. Now he'll get a gift. Berntsen is with him. There's the pass across, and the save is made, and the puck comes back out front. Nobody home.
Again, Razor jammed it with a stick.
Yeah, very active with the stick, and you don't see that a lot even in the NHL anymore. There's not a lot of goaltenders that get that stick out to help try to even get the player thinking when he's coming in or try to poke the puck away. They just allow him to come in, take the shot, and they just hope to make the save. So
Benson playing some D in his own end after everything that you just described on his edging and skating on that last entry the other way. He had the crowd paying attention for sure.
Impressive lateral agility and galloping.
Yeah. Galloping.
Galloping Gourmet. You remember watching him? That's a no?
I remember the name of it, but I don't.
No, you're making Rob hungrier, though.
Yeah.
We only had 3 channels back home. Yeah.
All the food they brought Razor over here is far too healthy.
Another D breakup here by Benson. Let's see if he can go and finish a play here now.
2-on-1 with Mariala. Benson far side, and again, nice challenge by Ratzlaff, who comes out to make the save. Just under 4 minutes to go. 2-1 for Team Martin in the blue. That's going to go by everybody. And it is Nathan Airy from Alberta in goal. Played with Cranbrook in the BCHL.
Big kid, BCHL goalie of the year, committed to the University of Minnesota in the fall. So he's going to jump right into the Big Ten and face some big-time shooters. Free agent invite here this week.
That's a nice invite. And good future, good school coming up for him for sure. Lukashin across the line, waiting for his mates. Nadeau going to the net, and Lukashin tried to feed him the puck. That was broken up. But they'll keep it in and fire that one just past the reach on the defensive end of Noran Panocha. And the puck sent down the ice with 3 minutes to go.
You know, Panocha's a guy that they drafted 7th round. And it kind of speaks to that size. He's got big size, a young kid. Had a really good under-18s for Germany, one of their top 3 players. And again, a guy just scratching the surface of who he's going to become as a player. But it's nice to see the Sabres take a look at this player.
Yeah, and the bigger guys too, Chris, it takes a little bit longer for them to catch up to that game because, especially in something like this, they're not going to probably stand out as quite as much because, usually a little more physical in that, and there's no hitting in this. But it does take a bigger kid a little bit longer to develop. Tage Thompson, there's a perfect example. Here's a young guy that did it well in junior and everything, and then when he makes that next step, a little slower to try to catch up.
Berntsen on his own with a mate, and he's sneaky with that one to tie it up.
Big-time scorer at the Swedish junior level, and Frölunda's program just re-upped for 1 more year. So we'll see if he can crack the big club this year. He still has some junior eligibility, I believe. But we've seen that kid, Berntsen, take over junior games in Sweden under 20 ranks. Takes the puck, goes end to end, scores a variety of goals, and you saw a really nice, nifty finish there on Ratzlaff.
20 goals in the aforementioned. Down to 1:44 to go, tied at 2. So very familiar territory for Team Martin. Benson for Team Robert with the puck now across the line. Draws the attention of all 3 defenders, but nobody overcommits. Benson forced wide, try to go top shelf with that one from a tight angle. Stays in play off the far boards. Savoie, good movement here. Nice save by Ratzlaff. The puck stays in front of him. And a backhander off the boards will just get outside the zone.
Razor, to finish up on Panoka, the German defenseman we were just talking about, he's got a decision to make. He was just picked yesterday in the CHL import draft by Chicoutimi. Does he go and play in juniors and come over to North America and get familiar with the rinks, or does he go and play, versus men in the German league where he's slated, right?
Okay, you're men in the German league, you're on the bigger ice, you're in a different game. I think if a kid could come over and play junior here for a year or so just to try to adapt, that speeds up that transition a little bit. It's much more physical over here that he's going to have once he gets in the NHL. You are still playing against big guys. It's not as if the kids in the OHL or Western Hockey League are not big, they're not physical. I think just that transition would help him if he did play a year or so at junior.
29 seconds to go, tied at 2. Are we in for our second straight shootout? We'll find out. Niehaus moves it across the ice. And they'll be forced back out to center with 16 seconds to reset here. Berntsen trying to take over as Chris mentioned, and he rips it home with 8 seconds to go for a 3-2 lead. Now another buzzer beater, 3 seconds. Midell on a 2-on-1, 1 second to go to the net, and a save by Airy. Cements the win for Team Robert, 3-2.
It's easy to say now because he just scored a big goal, but Berntsen, as a late-round draft pick, was a guy coming into this camp that you were kind of looking forward to, kind of that year-over-year progression. He got some limited time last year in the SHL. They took him to games on road trips, and they took him to the Champions League games. They put him in the lineup on the second line, scored some goals at that level. Spent the majority of his time, though, playing in the junior ranks where he just dominated. So you kind of want to see him here against a peer group that's probably a little bit better competition. Again, it's summer hockey, right? But the skill is there. You can see
But there is something to be playing in a situation where you can dominate, because that builds that confidence as well. It builds your skill level, and you're willing to try more things. If you're playing at a level where it's a battle for you every night, and you're not you're worried about trying to make that extra play, trying to show your creativity, over time that will just kind of stunt that, and because you're in that one frame of mind. But if you can play in a situation where you can dominate, you can do your thing, you can grow as a player, it's easier to adapt the other way than it is to bring that skill level up when called upon. Noise cut in between these next 2 games. Going to get right back at it here. So
Team Martin against Team Pro in the first game. And they played back-to-back. Team Robert wins the second game 3-2. And now it's Perreault and Robert that will do battle here. So things are tight, Mr. Baker, as far as where we go from here with.
No, I like it. I like this trio that Team Robert is going back with here, with Benson, Novikov, Neochev starting out. Wearing the white sweaters. Max Sturbach, a player that we're going to talk about a lot over the next few years, going to Michigan State out there with Minova and Matteo Costantini. Costantini played at North Dakota for 2 years, transferring to Western Michigan in the fall, looking to make an immediate impact there in a pretty solid program there in the NCHC, the Broncos.
All right, away we go. Is first possession here for Team Perot, wearing the gold jerseys, and Benson working hard to try to take it back from Sturbach.
Penalty. Yep. Benson slashing.
So Thursday morning chop there below the hands.
Yeah, we'll put the puck at center.
Yeah, they're more apt to do that now when they're not buying their own sticks.
All right, Max Sturbach picks up the puck, walks in, and that is stopped.
Fleming in the cage there for Team Robert.
Josh Fleming. Quebec native, played in the Quebec League. You can tell us more about that as we go along. As Nikita Novikov works his way in. Novikov tried a little trickery in front of the net. That goes to the corner. Constantini gets it back, throws it across ice. Novikov steps up at center, saw the gift there and takes it 3-on-1 now. Holds it, tried to slide that one through, but it's stopped. Rebound to Benson. He sends it across, and a great save.
What a beautiful pass by Benson. Just a little sauce pass. He just waited. He knew he didn't have the opportunity. The goaltender was there and trying to set up his man in front of the net.
That goes back to what you guys were already talking about. Before he gets the puck, he's already surveyed where everybody is. So, I mean, I know that's what you want to do, but some guys just do it quicker.
Not everybody
and
has that.
Yeah.
The offensive guys, there's certain offensive guys that have it. Even some offensive guys that they don't have that. They're the guys that go to the net and all that kind of thing. But when guys that are setting up plays like that, they just have a knack. You know, Casey Middlestad, he just very good passer, sees the ice very well.
Just saw a little power move there from Lawson Shirk, 20 in yellow, coming down. Kind of a power forward, but you're seeing actually a better skating game from him than we've seen the past couple of years in the Ontario League. He's a face-off guy, good neutral zone player, but what he was lacking previously was that burst, and we saw a nice move there. Another undrafted invite to this camp this week.
Panoka's shot is stopped, and Septenfelter, who's had a good day so far, and a good week actually, to be honest with you. Here's Jake Richard trying to cut inside. That's taken away, and Johnson gets it back.
Septenfelter's had a good year and a half. Former teammate of Devin Levi at Northeastern. It was clear that it was going to be Levi's net. He had a really good bean pot when he was at Northeastern, but transferred to Arizona State and had really impressive season last year that kind of put him on the radar for Seamus Kotick and the staff to bring him to camp this week.
Benson and Niehaus trying to work together again. Richard at center. There's a nice leave. Bergstrom far side, try to get it through. Save is made, and a potential 2-on-0. Kisakov will start it off here. Kisakov, they go side to side, and eventually put that one in the back of the net.
Nice job. Nice.
I lost count. There was that tick, tack, tick, tack,
tick, tack, toe, tick. Goal. Yeah, Richard, another nice play there. A nice one in the first game as well.
There's Mariala splitting the D and then dropping it back. Now some room in the middle. Good save again, and the puck comes back out in front. Septenfelter feltered back into the goal as Constantini comes back the other way. You can, again, to the point of as this kind of goes on here, you can see the creative juices starting to flow a little bit more, and guys are. That's probably part of the coach and Razor going on the bench too, or coaches might say, guys, just
nerves coming in too.
Yeah.
These are young kids, and you're coming into this situation that
they
so want to put on a show, and as they get playing, it just becomes natural. You don't even realize there's people in the building yet. Guy like Seth Appert over on the bench there on the.
Almost squeaks through. Septenfelter got some help. That one will not be stopped as Novikov in front puts it in the back of the net for Team Robert. We're tied at 1.
Some nice buzz here in the organization with Nikita Novikov. 2 years playing in the KHL for Moscow Dynamo, playing against men. He'll attack the play. He's got a little bit of that Matthias Samuelsson to him. There's actually been a couple plays here early in this game where he had to pull up because normally his instinct is he wants to lay the body and wipe a guy out. He pulls up, but he's still now showing his offensive creativity and some goal-scoring ability today so far.
Mats Lindgren for Shirk coming off the wall. Panoka keeping an eye on him. Now Shodin. With 7.5 to go. Good pass up ahead. Springing the attack. Austin Shirk had the door closed there at the last moment, trying to get the puck back again, but there's a nifty little play by Panoka to play it up ahead for Team Robert, fashioning a 2-on-1. They work it side to side. Puck is dug off the side of the goal. Septenfeld to try to keep that one out, and he does a good job at this near post.
That's what I love about these 3-on-3s. You have two defensemen there, Nash Nienhuis out of Michigan State, Nicholas Savoie, both down low in the paint, jamming. Savoie, interesting. So he just recently signed with the Amerks after a long career with the Quebec Remparts. He was one of the top defensive defensemen this year for Patrick Roy's Quebec team.
Empty net, and an easy one there, the way that one worked out for Kisakov. Team Pro takes a 2-1 lead. Does it last for long? It will for now, as that shot by Mariala goes wide. Richard with a backhand pass that goes all the way down to the far corner. Back into the offensive zone. Richard between the legs. Nice pass across, and a blocker save even better that time from Fleming. Down to 6:07 to go is Benson. Watched by Johnson. Good stick by Johnson. Takes it away from Benson.
Been waiting for Ryan Johnson to open it up here and use his skating game. Maybe that'll start to come out a little bit more.
It does look like he's just sort of sitting back a little bit. And I think he's a little bit older too, and he's just so programmed to playing that game. When you get in this situation, a little hesitation. That's all it is. And that just comes with being comfortable.
Savoie shot ripped wide and high. Team Robert keeping the puck here. They need one to tie it up at 2 apiece. It's kind of been the way things have gone in the 2 previous games to this point.
And Novikov using his big body frame, taking that puck low, just kind of pushing guys off. That's showing his strength and his stability on his skates there. He was just very strong at that move.
Nowchev trying to get this one to the net, and it's picked off. And tired legs on the other side of the ice. Constantini sends the pass across.
Nice to be unselfish, but maybe an opportunity to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
I think he had a guy with dead legs out there.
Just thinking that there a little bit. They try to overpass here a little bit. They're trying to be creative and make things happen. Sometimes you want to be a little more selfish in situations, but
yeah, I think Novikov was praying that he would pass that. He said, "I'm not catching him. If you pass it, I got a chance to get a stick on it and get off the ice."
See Mats Lindgren out there. So Mats Lindgren, as a defenseman, he had a really good season in Red Deer, kind of developing his defensive zone play this year. Gained 11 pounds, and he talked about it at the press availability this week about the fatigue and the conditioning that comes with taking on that weight. Something that we don't always think about.
Yeah, I had that problem late in my career.
Until you're in your 40s and 50s, yeah. You think about it every day.
When you're used to playing at about 205, 208, and then you jump up to like that 220, 225. It does. It takes its toll on you.
You had a good 11-day power play, though. You were all over the ice.
Oh, my God. My last shift, when I crumbled behind the net, I was done.
You were a plus, though.
I got home. I drove from here home. I couldn't even hardly get out of the truck.
All right, here comes. You asked for a little bit more skating. You got it right there. As Ryan Johnson with a burst of speed up the middle of the ice before it's knocked off his stick. Now Mariala in the far corner. Johnson wants the puck back again. So maybe they're watching online. Rob said they watch for the highlights. So, they're already watching the highlight of their goals.
I like the play by Johnson there. No hitting, but he still sealed this guy off.
Yeah. And he's right back into the play again. And that pass was blocked. 2-on-1 still working here. Johnson in the middle of the ice. Tried to back out and create some space. Richard tries to go between the legs. It's right on the line. But the puck went on end and then took a favorable bounce.
It's interesting. Jake Richard, he's doing here what he does in games at the USHL and hopefully in Hockey East next year. He can score goals from range, but man, he backs in, uses his big body and his hands to do slick plays through his legs and around, to get different angles to shoot the puck on net.
And that's good, because when you take that next step to the next level, you're not going to have that time or space to be able to be that flashy that you're going to be. So you have to learn to score goals other ways. I fall back to Tage Thompson again. Relied so much on his shot for, the first year. Last year, he brought more to it. He got himself in tight, driving the puck to the net, and using the body and frame. That's where you're going to have long-term success.
Savoie alone, and Septenfelter able to make the save. The other good, obviously, a notable note for Jake, noticing that he had equal goals and assists last year. So that tells you it's as much as sometimes you might see someone, look, do you pass the puck? Evidently he does. So create space for yourself and your teammates, and noticing if you're drawing the D. And that's not always the case. A lot of times at that level, right, you just want to keep scoring. Here's a 2-on-0, and then we'll get to your thought. Novikov with a pass across, and how about Septenfelter?
No, with Richard, it's a great point about the goals and assists breakdown, and a lot of those are 5 to 8 foot passes around the net. They're not, lengthy cross zone passes. I mean, again, because he's in the house, he's in the dirty area to make those plays.
We did notice that last year. Razor and I we saw him last year at development camp, and I think we talked about him. The kid, he was always going to the net. I mean, that's all he was doing, which was, for first time seeing a.
Well, and to a lot of good offensive players, they score from the perimeter. They're not the guys that are going to jam it in the front. So sometimes when you're so programmed of, scoring from the top of the circle, face-off dot, or, wherever that area, then when you've got to change that a little bit, that's a big difference too.
He's got an NHL goal-scoring mentality.
Yes.
Oh, what a save again as Septenfelter's putting his stamp on this 3-on-3 with 1:12 to go. Here's the counter, and a great shot. Lawson Shirk puts that one upstairs.
Shirk went to Toronto's development camp last year. Obviously went back to the OHL. He doesn't want to go back to the OHL as an overager next year. He wants to earn a right to come into a training camp this year, and he's having a nice little showing here. Again, in the 3-on-3, just showing a different look to his game.
Empty net, and that one will go this wide. So 40 seconds to go. Clock still runs. 3-1 Team Perreault with the lead. Benson is on the ice here with the extra skater. Hertzen carries across the line. Tried to beat two defenders there. Knocked down by Benson. Benson down the middle. Takes the shot and the rebound off the pads of Septenfelter. Gets away. Gauchip trying to center. Now it's Richard hoping for an empty net chance for what that is worth right now with 10 seconds to go. And a 2-goal lead for Team Perreault. Here's Benson trying to get to the middle. Shooting lane not there yet. Nice job by Team Perreault taking that lane away. And there you go. It's a 3-1 Team Perreault win.
These guys aren't out here for a Sunday skate. They want to win.
No, they do, and it's good, and that's a mentality you got to take going into it too. You want to make sure that you're on that winning side. You want to be successful. It's in your mind you would be thinking there, if I'm on the winning team, then you're going to get a little more attention, a little better look. Plus, it gives you an extra game that you can go out there and show the guys what you can do, and that extra game could mean an awful lot to some guys.
So, all in all, Razor, what'd you think?
I like it. I think here, Dan, as they get a couple games under their belt, they're starting to open up a little bit. I think that fatigue factor kind of is gone a little bit that we saw in the first game for each team. I think that the goaltending here has been very good so far in this camp. Guys maybe overpassing a little bit, trying to be a little too fancy. But I think you see that might change as they progress here and they get into the championship game, that they're going to get pucks to the net. If I was a coach on the bench, I would be telling you to be a little more greedy, just getting pucks to the net, give yourself a chance, have those guys driving. But for the most part, to me, it looks a bigger group. It's a bigger group of guys on the ice right now. That's number one, and I like that side. It's a little more difficult for those bigger guys in a game that there's no hitting, and it's a little more wide open. It's kind of catered to the smaller offensive guys, but for the most part, nothing bad, nothing that stands out that you go, okay, or even one individual. There hasn't been a goaltender, there hasn't been a player that you sat there and you said, hey, I'm struggling. You may have a tough shift, and they back it up with a couple good ones, so you like to see that.
Thought for that last game, so Team Perreault, Shirk was going. We talked a lot about Jake Richard today, making plays around the net. The game started to tilt when Ryan Johnson got a little more involved, I thought, and was kind of taking it deeper and just kind of letting his game flow and playing a little more free. Thought that was kind of interesting.
You're seeing different guys step up in different games. It's not the same guys, so far in the games that they played. It's been multiple individuals on each side, so you like to see that too as a coach or a management staff sitting up top watching it to see that you can back it up. You have a tough one, then you can back it up with a good one.
So it'll be in the semifinal after a short break here, getting the ice we're just scraping out there. Yeah, it looks like it. It'll be Team Robert against Team Martin, and the winner will face Team Perot in the final of this 3-on-3 tournament. That, as we've mentioned, has been very well attended. And yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the goaltending. I mean, you got a couple of invitees here, and you've got a draft class as well. Maybe put us in the head of someone invited to a camp like this, and kind of what their message is to themselves and what they want to take back to their season.
Well, if you look at like a TJ Semptimphelter,
yeah,
okay, it's been
really good.
He's been excellent, just especially the last game too. I mentioned some skaters, but I think he was really the key to that victory for Team Perot. It's nice to get these guys in here. They get the experience of working with professional level coaches. They get a message from Kevin Adams talking about why they're here, and it gives them a goal. It gives them a greater objective. A guy like Semptimphelter, it's been a longer road for him. He didn't come from the big AAA programs always, or he wasn't this elite guy at every level. But he's taken every opportunity he's got, and he's run with it.
Well, just to back that up, years ago you would never have a clear message of what teams or organizations were looking for. When I came in, it was a long time ago, and it's tough to compare. But now, there's no questions. When these kids come in, they'll speak to management before when they get here, just kind of talk why they're here and all that kind of thing individually. And then they will do it before they leave too, and say, okay, during this camp we noticed this, we like this, we think you should work on this. And I think that is the advantage that you have, to have that communication with them. So they go home from here, and the ones that are coming back from main camp, there's no question in their mind what they're looking for and what they have to work on. So they've got a month or so to work on that, and then progress throughout the year. But too many times I think guys would come in and they would think they were this kind of a player, and this is what I have to do to be successful. And it was totally wrong. And, because every organization is going to be different. You could have a kid that's, here, and he's one thing, and this is what this organization wants you to do. You go to the next, and it's something totally different. So for a young man, that could be very confusing. And I think right now it's very good that teams do this to set these guys on the right path.
It's not like 10, 15 years ago when the teams are drafting players and just sending them back to juniors and they're on their own. For like a Semptimphelter, he has relationships now with Seamus Kotick, the goaltending development coach. He's going to have dialogue, I'm sure, moving forward.
Absolutely.
Not a drafted property, it's new relationships, because we talk about these camps all the time. You can see, like, the best part for me coming to these camps for many years is the camaraderie, the friendships that these players start to make, but it's also the off-ice with the coaching staff. The other observation that I've made from coming to a lot of these camps, whether it was way back at the Northtown Center or when it was up in Niagara, is the players are so much more polished now when they come in as 18, 19-year-old. And I think it's because all the video work that they do, like defensemen just look better. They're not as raw. You see fewer raw prospects come into these camps now. Defensemen know how to use their stick positioning, when to pivot, because they're watching so much video.
Video is the greatest tool that a coach can use if you use it in the right way. I think a lot of coaches out there, they'll use it in a negative way. It'll show you all your mistakes. I think when you're doing it, especially kids, you've got to show the positives, you show the negatives as well. Compare it. You know what, we'll use it in the junior Sabre side, and not only showing the kids in our games, but you'll show NHL highlights. You'll show NHL highlights of saying, this is how Tage Thompson does this. This is what Alex Tuck does. This is what Dylan Cousin does. All different types of players and how they do it. And the kids just absorb that. They soak it in. It's better than standing on a board going, you should go here in this direction. They don't take that in the same way as what they do seeing in a video side. And I think that's such an advantage that a lot of people, especially at the younger level, don't use. And they should use it, because when you've got a 10 to 15-year-old kid, a lot of the times when you're on the ice and you're wasting time when you're on the ice doing the coaching in practices, and you only get 50 minutes or an hour or what it may be, if you can take that half hour, that hour before or after practice at some point and just point it out once a week, and you just kind of show them the things from the weekend, what they did right or wrong, show the goals so they get hype, hits and stuff like that, but keep it interesting for them. They absorb so much more than what you try to do just talking to them or trying to show them on a whiteboard or something like that.
They're all visual learners, right?
Yes,
so it's like the kids always want to watch on their own. They'll watch the goal highlights, but they won't watch the Pat Coletta back check route,
and that's
the Mike Greer back check.
I have a number of friends that are coaching Division I hockey, now, and even junior. And you talk to them. I talked to Jay McKee the other day, and I'm like, the kids watch the games now? And he goes, I've found that the kids do not watch hockey games now, okay, to sit there and learn from them. They watch the highlights. They watch, the Sports Center. They watch the next morning when it comes out on NHL Network and all that kind of thing. That's where they're getting it from. So all they're seeing is the great plays, the big goals, the hits, and all that kind of thing. They're not seeing the game itself because they don't take the time sometimes to sit and just kind of learn from that and educate themselves from watching the game of the little things that a defenseman might do. You could learn so much from Rasmus Dahlin just watching him in a game in situations, not only on the
just ISO video.
Yes, and that's all you need to do. And you watch kids on the bench now in the NHL. Every time they're coming off, they're looking at the iPad. And sometimes you would think in the past they would think, oh, it's too much. You're trying to show too much to them, and they can't take it all in. They take it in. They take it in this way, because that's what their life is now.
Well, and you and I saw it too. I don't have to say where and when, but in traveling with these guys again, as we were last year, we'd be in situations where we're just in the same area as the group, and they're talking about things that they've just viewed online, and it's people's opinions of, hey, watch this guy. He's doing it this way, this guy. So you're right. They're not watching a game necessarily, but they're watching different training tools. And I think when you search something, it's just human nature. When you search it out on your own, that says something, right? That means, hey, I do want to learn how to do this or whatever. To your point, Rob, about coaching, you can lose anybody in coaching or teaching if you say, all right, this is what you need to learn. I'm going to tell you how to learn it.
This is what you got to do.
Yeah, but now they have the tools to say, look, okay, we're going to teach a couple things here. And I think the coaches, and Rob points it out, and you said as well, they know the kids are going home and they're watching certain things. So, for example, maybe they're not watching. If 80% of an NHL game is played along the wall and winning puck battles, then that's what you need to teach and practice, because they're not really going home and watching that. To your point, Razor, they're watching the goal highlights, and they might be watching Dahlin and how he breaks up a play. But what about the other 80% where I can't get the puck back, coach?
Yeah,
okay, this is where I come in.
Just for an example, like you watch NHL Draft, and when they interview the kids and they'll say, how do you compare yourself? I watch a lot of a certain individual player because that's the player they want to be, the player they like. So they just concentrate on that player, which is great, because when you do that, you're going to see the little things that he does.
So that said, we saw what it took for Florida to take the next step. So everyone talks about the 1 point. Florida, I always thought, was a much better team. I think Rob did too, than they showed in the regular season. Christian might feel the same. Then the playoffs come around, and who are the difference makers? You got your Bennett, Kachuk. All of a sudden, you've got Montour, who turns into this kind of a nasty, very talented, but shows the nasty edge. And just, so it's all it's fine and well to follow talent, but I guess what my point is, what about the mucking and the grinding and the determination part that I don't know if you can teach it, you have to have it, but that's still going to be in the game. So you can watch all the flashy goal highlights you want. You still got to go get the puck.
No, that's right. It's off the puck is what actually makes or breaks. Like we say, the development with these players, it happens between the goal highlights.
Right.
It happens with Adam Mayer, Tim Kennedy.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Cutting those clips and sending to them. That's how you can develop a player from 2,000 miles away if they're playing in Sweden and Finland.
Right.
And you don't have to be there on site.
I mean, you know what the great thing is now with these developmental coaches? They're not only in contact with the player themselves, they're in contact with their junior college coach, on things that they want to work on. So they'll work on it. They all have individual trainers for the physical side that they need to work on. They're in communication with those guys. And it could be somebody not even involved with the team that they're playing on. It's somebody outside. And then they all have the mental side too. So it's, they're in constant. The job that the developmental coaches have in the NHL now is not just, I'm going to go teach a kid how to catch a puck on the wall. It's so vast, and there's so many different areas that these guys have a lot of pressure. They spend a lot of time on the road. They spend a lot of time with these kids. So, when they're coming in, they know the Adam Mayers and the Nathan Pages and Timmy Kennedy is way better than anybody else in the organization, because they've worked so much with them, either in person or, talking to them online or on the phone or anything like that. So,
and that's part of the soft benefit, I think, that the Sabres got drafted Maxim Sturbach in the second round. So he's going to Michigan State in the fall. He's playing for Adam Nightingale, who has a relationship here. Right? It's not the only reason you draft a kid, but Jason Nightingale still works for the Sabres organization. I think it's easier to get on that same developmental agenda. And I don't think it's a coincidence, by the way, that you see Nash Nienhuis here also, who's a Michigan State defenseman, likely had good words come in from him, from the coaching staff. And by the way, we talk about all the video and all that work. I can make the argument that Nash Nienhuis player doesn't get to the point of getting invited to an NHL camp without all that video work and doing it himself. This was a kid playing junior B in Sarnia like 4 or 5 years ago and was a one-way offensive player, knew that he had to go to the USHL where they do a lot of video work with those kids during the week. He became one of the best defensemen in the USHL by the time he got to the end of that third year, and he's had nothing but year-over-year growth since going to Michigan State. Now he's there playing with Adam Nightingale, and that program is on the come-up because of players like Nienhuis and hopefully Sturbach.
So we've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds until we get our semifinal going here. And as soon as you're finished your bite, I think we've got 4 minutes to talk about the other part of this camp that we haven't done yet. Yourself and Danny Gare, and I don't know who else, but I know that
Marty Braun.
Okay.
Jeff Skinner.
Talk about how you addressed it and just what the moment was like when you walked in to talk to this group of players.
This is just another area where your teams are expanding, trying to, educate the kids on not only their game and coming into camp, but experiences from the past and players from different eras, how things were and changed. And, but overall, the game has changed, yes, but the way you have to be mentally and the way you approach things and the way you think has never changed. It's the same old thing. And I think the big message when we were going into that little discussion we had with all the kids that are here in camp, the big message was being, and that came from Jeff Skinner as well, from Jeff to myself to Danny, that you have to learn to adapt. You have to learn to adapt once you get to this level. And, we're all goal scorers in junior. We all offensive numbers were good. But when you get to this level, it gets to the point where you start getting more defined in a role. And you can't judge your game just on the offensive side. I think so many kids put so much pressure on themselves because, I got to score goals, or I didn't get a goal in this game. I didn't play well because I didn't score or didn't get a point. But you have to understand that even the guys in the NHL that are on third, fourth line that are checking roles, they were all great junior players. They were all great college players. And the point we're trying to get, the kids that are able to adapt to that, understand that, and listen to what the organization wants you to do and be willing to do it, those are the guys that are going to be successful. And I think that was something that was kind of opened up a lot of their eyes. And that even a guy like Benson, we looked at him, Danny looks at him, he goes, look, we're both smaller stature guys. I was able to have a couple good years, put 50 goals up and that. But that's not always the way it was.
Right.
He goes, I was never always in that situation. I got lucky to be in the right situation with the right line mates on the right team. But at some point in my career, it changed. And I wasn't always that guy. You were more lean on being defensive guy, killing penalties and things like that. But I don't think a lot of kids understand that at some point their game will change. Unless you are one of the premier offensive guys and, it just kind of carries through. But a lot of those guys that transition offensively doesn't follow them. And a lot of the guys that weren't maybe big offensive guys in junior adapt their game and they start getting more offensive opportunities and success once they get to this level because their game adapts to the NHL game better than even the American League or what college may be. So I think the big message to them was just making sure that you're willing to adapt and do what has to be.
Hard work beats talent when talent isn't working hard.
Yep.
All right, semifinal game number 1, Team Martin against Team Robert. Underway, same format, 12 minutes. And we keep the clock moving here. There's Anton Wahlberg out for a first shift. Along with Yandrik as a puck comes down into the near corner. Wahlberg brings it to the middle of the ice. Good stick by Savoie, knocks that one away. And back the other way now on a counter. That is quickly denied by McCarthy. Gavin McCarthy on this right side, trying to find a little room up ice for a quick pass, but it's not there. So he'll join the entry down on the left lane as the puck is kept on that far wall.
I thought McCarthy's looked pretty good here in the first set of games. comfort level, I think, to Rob's point earlier about just knowing the surroundings. A lot of these kids will come into their first camp. They have nerves. I think those have been eliminated
none of that.
with McCarthy.
Yeah, he's had none of that all week long for sure. Here's Benson. Nice move. Nice cut inside. On his own, he'll try this one, and there is the glove once again of Scott Ratzlaff.
Active hands with Ratzlaff, both sides. Blocker's been good. Glove's been just as good.
First save I saw him make all week was that glove. I thought, okay, we know that's good. Here's Benson, marked pretty tightly by Lacassin, and Benson trying to wheel that one back to the blue line, and it's a chance here for a break the other way is connecting. Lacassin to the middle of the ice, but a stick defensively there, knocking that one away. That might have been Nikita Novikov who had that reach.
Certainly was.
Backhand pass across the ice. And it's Novikov joining the rush and right at the buzzer.
Good identification there from Niaichevs with the quick spin and the backhand feed to create a scoring opportunity.
There's Nadeau down the right side. Had Huglen with him, but couldn't get on the puck. Carlson surveys as he brings it up top of the zone. And spin move at the blue line. Halfway through their shift. Panoka able to take it away, get it up to center ice before he's double teamed. Ayala gets a second chance now. Panoka will get it across the line down to the right side. And Niehaus going to the net, but that puck rockets off the boards. Mariala's going to come in front. Backhand is not there. Good active stick by Ratzlaff interfering, and there's another active stick getting involved. Carlson will hold it. Now we'll get a change.
We haven't talked a lot about Viljami Mariala today. Last year, for my money, one of the better, more dominant offensive figures in all of European juniors. Was really just a controlling presence with the puck, playmaker. Went up and blended right in immediately when he got to Liga. He played for TPS's top team, and he kept his game in straight lines when he got up to the pros, and he allowed him to score some goals and jump right into a second-line role. One more year left on his deal. Could be a guy that pops on the Sabres radar if he has another big year over there.
Here's Benson trying to walk his way in. Forced to the corner. Continues to possess that puck and then trying to center it in front. Chris Jandrick gets it back again. Now Savoie center on the Robert side of the red line. Benson can't move it any deeper. Now he's got to defend a 2-on-1 here. McCarthy takes the pass. Nice move inside, sends it in front, but that puck gets away to the far wall.
And to be clear on Mariala, he's already on the radar as a draft pick.
Right.
But it's with so many forwards that they have and so many contracts to go around, it's the competition heating up for these guys to get into the system formally. Let's see what he does here. Nice move.
There's proof is in the pudding right there as far as how you described his play. You know, that's where you want this. It's almost the expectation now for the Sabres. It's a great save by Ratzlaff, is that you've had these years to draft and you have been able, you know, unfortunately, to build a bit of a talent pool here. And you take a look at the job that Jerry Fortin and Kevin Adams and the scouting staff and the hockey operations group has done. They've got some players in the system now, and everybody around the league knows it. So it's a good spot to be in when you talk about, hey, where's this guy going to fit in? And
well, and you also got depth now too.
That's what I mean.
That you can use to pursue other assets as well.
That's right.
You know, for so long you didn't have that depth pool that, you know, if all of a sudden Kevin Adams realizes, hey, we need this. You know, you've got a couple kids that because of the depth, you can take them and use them as tokens to try to get what you need. So in the past, all you had was your draft picks. You could just trade draft picks, you know, or individual players on your team. Now you've got a little more to work with,
more
too.
of a known asset.
Yes.
It's a great problem to have for a general manager.
Savoie from Panoka just across the line, and then Niehaus will put it down below the goal line where it's taken back by Huglen, and now with 6:20 to go, Team Martin looking to maybe get the first one here. Huglen's got a man going to the net. Nadeau's shot is stopped, and the rebound picked up by Panoka, and he'll make his way up towards the blue line, and that's an errant pass. And then we'll get a Shift change here with the buzzer sounding.
Goaltender change.
Olivier Nadeau has an opportunity to be a very important player in this organization because he does all the work. He blocks shots. He wins board battles. He goes to the front of the net. He's a very big presence there, and he can score goals. Puts his stick down, presents a target for his teammates to find. If he can just get that little bit of quickness, right, a little more of that skating boost, he acknowledges it. He knows he's putting the work in, but you've already seen the growth, and we talk about year over year with him.
Benson trying to rip that one, but Ratzlaff got a piece of it. By the way, I'd love to, not that you do it. I like changing goaltenders on the fly, too. I
wonder if the goalies like it.
Fleming came in. Oh, why not?
I would say no.
Probably not.
They're strange enough.
They're strange. I was told by a goalie coach, I'm like, why can't goaltenders play, 60 games a year anymore like they used to? And they go, the game is too mentally tough now compared to what it was in the past. So that's why they can't play. Like, really?
Rob, the goalie coach isn't just a skills coach. They're probably 95% psychologist. If a goalie is playing 60, you might need a whole team of them.
Yeah.
Talk about goalie coaches, favorite quotes.
Mariella trying to make his way to the net, but he's forced behind the cage. Under 5 minutes to go. Still no score in this semifinal with Team Perot winning the winner. Good hard work. Looks just like all the drills they ran all week long. So a little one-on-one battle to the side of the net. And that's going to get away from Sardarian.
Yeah, it was nice work from Jakub Konechny down low there. Another Frank Musial draft pick, came from the same program, Sparta Prague, where they fished Lucas Rusak out of. They got a few more years of runway with him being a European pick, but a high-skill player that actually has a little bit of like an attitude to him too. He's not afraid to mix it up.
Right side with a nice pad save. That enables this counter on the rush. McCaustin trying to factor in on what would have been a first goal of this one. Still scoreless.
Things are tightening up, Dan.
Yeah, under 4 to go. Savoie will play that one down into the corner. Niehaus wins it back. Nicolas Savoie trying to get that one in the net. He does. Padded to the corner. And the puck poked out over center ice and all the way back down into Team Robert territory. Savoie cross ice. Pass is blocked. Maybe a 2-on-1 here with some tired legs. Savoie and Niehaus trying to defend, and that pass misses the intended target. Nadeau trying to get his stick back again, and Berntsen will play it back towards Josh Fleming. Shift change now with under 3 to go. Mariella couldn't gain the zone that time. Benson. No room at the end there as McCarthy took the lane away, got the puck. And now Team Martin. Nice move on that far side. No shot though. Yes, it is in the back of the net. So there it is, the first one. That was some nice work.
Wahlberg scored about 8 or 9 goals this past year at the junior level. Same play.
Same play.
Same play.
So Anton Wahlberg gets the first one, and it was a pretty one with now 2:20 to go in the semifinal. No shot yet from Yachev along with Benson. Pad save, rebound, and it's tied up.
Mariella at the doorstep, right there at the edge of the blue paint where you need to be.
Yeah, he did, right on top of the paint there, just tying up the man, and eventually it was going to come. You got 2 guys on your line that are creative offensively. Get to the front of the net because they're going to find the opening. I think that's the big thing with whomever's on the ice with Benson. You're seeing him, yeah, if that shot's not there, he's looking to make a play, and he's making a play an awful lot. You got to get yourself in the open that he's able to distribute the puck to you.
Connecting shot doesn't get through. And Pinoca working off the far boards in a 1-1 game with 90 seconds to go. Makes his way to center and across the line. Looks to drive the net, forced to the circle near side.
Easy to make the German connection, but he looks like Moritz Seider out there, doesn't he, with that hair and the skating ability?
Looking for a passing option that play, and it wasn't there for him. So now it's Team Martin with a chance here with almost just a minute to go in the semifinal. Sardarian on the far wall trying to play it back, and that is picked off by Novikov. And a quick change, and Benson trying to find some open ice here. Left side entry on his backhand. Benson takes the shot. The rebound off the save by Retzlaff is picked up. And Nadeau trying to fight off Benson, but Benson wins that fight for the bone. And Benson trying to get it to the front of the net again. Stays with it.
Look at that. Stick on stick, stick on puck all day long from Benson.
He did not give up on that play. Scores! Berntsen goes to the net, and that is all Benson there.
Yeah, he's probably 5 or 6 times so far here this morning. He's dogged the guy with the puck. He's stayed on him. He's got a busy stick. He's chopping, he's hacking, he's just kind of poking him, and he's come up with that puck from behind every time.
Empty net now for Team Martin, looking to tie it up with 12 seconds to go, and the puck's going to leave the zone. Berntsen with the empty net makes one move, holds it, and says thank you for the pass before and that hard work off the wall to Benson. And Team Robert, with Zach Benson getting the third, win it 3-1. So Robert and Perreault will meet in the final of this 3-on-3 development camp tournament. And yeah, you talked about it. It's not always flashy you want to see. You want to see that dog in the fight, get the puck back again, and then find your teammates there. That's what that was all about.
What he does, he keeps his feet moving. You know, too many guys, when that play is over, they just sort of kind of turn, and then they start getting themselves coming back. As soon as he loses control of the puck, bang, he's right on top of it, and whomever's got the puck, he's used the stick very well. Like I said, he's lifted the stick from behind 2 or 3 times, taking the puck, but he just creates that battle, that one-on-one battle. And then if he's not coming up with it, he on a normal game when there's not a 3-on-3, you're going to have support there. You're going to have somebody else coming in to try to help, you know, get the puck back. And I just think there's just no give up in him. He just kind of goes and stays with it, and it's been very effective, very noticeable.
Saw this a lot this year when he was playing in the Western League. You know, by the time the third period rolls around, there's forwards at every level that'll back D off with their speed. They have disruptive speed. Yep. He backs D off because he keeps going at him. And by the time they get to the 50th minute of the game in the crunch time, he's just out there, just like keeps going like the Energizer Bunny, and creates opportunities for himself late in games. And they're putting him out there in key situations at that level. And I think that's going to be a translatable skill as he moves up.
Well, 75% of the time when the D gets the puck, and he's going to have time. He's going to have time to turn up the ice, survey what's going on, decide to where to make a pass. If somebody's on you like that, that's forcing you to do something most of the time that you don't really want to do, and you're not going to make that correct pass or that clean pass.
Force him into bad decisions, put the pressure on him on the retrievals. I like that type of player, you know.
Yeah, there's no doubt when he gets the puck where he's going, and as you pointed out earlier too, there's different ways that he'll use that speed on his edges and entries, but he's still going a straight line. I mean, there's not a lot of east to west on this guy. He's getting the puck and he's going to get it in the zone, and then as a defenseman, like you're deciding, I assume you're deciding, all right, if I step up, does he make me look foolish? If I back off, am I backing off too much? So now you got the guy thinking, and it's because you're driving the play.
Yeah, and then even if you do make the play on him and you get the puck back, you're looking, where is he? Where is he? He's here somewhere. Yeah. And it's going to force you to speed up that process, and a lot of times it forces you into a mistake.
I like when he gets that puck wide, because he opens up its hips. It not only creates different passing angles for him, he gets the D to pivot too, and that's when he just takes advantage of those moving D. And here we go.
Novikov and Matteo Costantini had a little fun at center there before the face-off. You can tell that this group is together here, and they're also feisty, wanting to win this one. How about that move? And
Dan, that's the second time they got together and had a little fun before the opening puck drop.
Yeah, just kind of giving it playfully to one another and let's go and having some fun here. So I think all the team building that they've done away from the rink here has really been the big win so far, and that's what every organization wants. But you have to make it happen. Here's Sturback trying to get inside. It's taken away by Novikov, and he's got Yochev with him here on this.
Yeah, as you said that, they've done a number of things. They've kept them busy every day here. They've gone to the Bison's games. They've gone to the riverboat ride up in the Niagara Falls and the Gorge and all that kind of thing. So they've spent an awful lot of time building them together. And I think that's the big thing. We talk about going to Rochester. That's where you kind of grow as a group and grow up and come up through. Well, doing things like this just speeds that process up a lot more, because you got a chance of getting to know the guy away from a pressured situation. and seeing what they're all about. And then when you come to camp and have these guys around, you're already past that of who's this guy, what's he all about. You've got that chance to get to know them already.
I'll tell you what, Mariala starts all this with a great stick defensively, and he cuts to the net looking for the loose puck.
Goal.
That went in.
Did it go in? All right, so Mariala, who back at this end of the ice with a nice stick play defensively, breaking things up, getting it ahead to Benson, and then the rest is...
Yeah, 2 goals. The last 2 goals are right on top of the blue paint, right in front of the goaltender.
Yeah. So it's a 13-15 remaining here. Although there's nothing on the board. Still showing a scoreless game. Here's Benson working his way in. Lawson Shirk made sure he caught up to him, and then Semptenfelter doing his job. So we're still scoreless here 7 minutes in. Semptenfelter even took a look up at the scoreboard to see what the score was.
But the referee called the goal down
pointed,
there. He pointed. He called the goal.
Here's Richard. Good stick lift as Savoie defensively in on the play, and he is the benefit of a loose puck. Savoie on his own. Semptenfelter stays with him.
You know, going back to Mariala, Dan, non-traditional development route. 2 years, came over from Finland, 2 years in the CHL under Patrick Waugh's guidance in Quebec, then goes back to Finland. And he's got himself firmly on the radar like we talked about earlier. But
here's Richard with a chance. Fanned on the first attempt.
What a pass by Johnson, though, all the way from below the goal line to hit Richard at the far blue line.
Savoie with a pass, and Niehaus' shot goes off the boards. Want to finish what you were?
No, I was going to say there's no, there's many different paths to get there. You know, it's not all in a straight line all the time. It's not always juniors to the AHL. Sometimes you go back and take pit stops along the way to get your game going.
I think it's the player that realizes that and keeps putting in the work too, that more often than not finds himself like, wow, I did it.
Because that guy wants it.
Yeah.
That guy wants it. A guy that doesn't want it quite as much.
Nice move in front, and there is one that's definitely in the back of the net from Nikita Novikov.
A guy that doesn't want it quite as much is going to pull back and maybe not put the same effort in or even pack it in. But a guy that's going to be willing to keep staying with it and staying with it.
Another breakaway chance. So it is 2-0 Team Robert. Looking to make it 3 here. Oh, what a pad save. Rebound.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it. He didn't coast past the net. He stopped, stayed there, kept himself in the play, did Neuchev.
Victor Neuchev makes it 3-0. So Team Robert exploding here. And they've got some speed. They're coming again as
Seth Appert, the Amherst coach over on the bench coaching. He's high-fiving everybody. He's having a better time over there than I think the players are.
Hey, Rob, how about Novikov? Okay, that kid's 19, doesn't turn 20 for a few more weeks.
Is that
how
right?
big that kid is.
Yeah.
And he's going to keep getting bigger.
He's a big guy, and he makes good decisions, too, and he can move, he can skate.
you like finding those in the 6th round, don't you?
Yeah.
Any round will do, but
you know what the thing is? We talk about 1st round, 7th round, or whatever it may be. Once these kids, other than the first pick, it kind of gets a little more of attention, a little more of a chance sometimes. The rest of them, it's all out the window as soon as they get here.
Right.
They don't sit there and go, oh, you can't make it up, because you're a 7th round pick and this guy was a 2nd round pick. Organizations don't care. Whoever's going to be the better player, they're going to take. And, all you need is that chance.
yeah. And it's more of a story for those to tell kids that are up and coming throughout that you don't have to be the 1st overall. Yeah, you want who doesn't want to be, but you don't have to be, to your point.
I'll just go back to my draft. They had 2 picks in the 5th. They took Alex McGillney first, myself in the 2nd. Out of that draft, him and I were the only 2 that played. Joel Savage and Darcy Lone and these guys, they were all taken ahead of us that never really played, ever.
Getting drafted to ticket into the system. Look at Tyson Kozak and what he's doing. He's 7th rounder.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, he put his name out there, didn't he, recently? So.
Yeah. Part of that long Amherst run that kept those players out of this camp. There's so many players that are in the system that we're not even having the luxury of talking about today because they're resting and recuperating, getting ready for next season.
Yes, here's Spinoka down the right side. So 3-0 Team Robert. Looking to widen the gap even further here with 9 minutes to go in this final game of the 3-on-3 tournament. Sturback. Constantini to the net with him. Sturback keeps it, and Constantini tried to get a stick on that one. Now down in the corner, he'll take the pass from Miedema. Sturback, far corner. Miedema up top, trying to create some space. Comes over to help out. Now will take it down the left lane. In behind the goal with it. Takes a look out front. Finds his man. Constantini rips it home.
Nice pass.
Great shot, too.
Yep.
Hit his stick, bang. It was released quick.
It was good because Constantini had a few opportunities in the first game, couldn't connect. Getting a big one here in a game that really counts for the
Benson tripped down a little bit, gets up between the legs, and the pass in front. And Sentenfelter makes the save. As Team Perot now trailing by 2 with 8 to go. Will get the puck back deep in their own end. A chance to cut it to 1 here.
I like the package that Ethan Miedema has shown here. Big, power forward, but has some skill in him. That was a nice pass to Constantini on that last goal.
Lindgren trying to dance in, and a bouncing puck is knocked down and kept at bay by Nathan Airy. Anoka to center, will drop it back. Savoie. Offside they go. 7:28 remaining. Lawson Shirk will start it out with a pass to Lindgren. He's able to feed that one ahead. And a nice pad save, and Airy stays with it. Covers up and keeps the play moving.
Nice tape-to-tape feed there in transition from Mats Lindgren to spring Shodin in for the opportunity.
General Manager Kevin Adams will speak after the game during the presentation to the team winner of the trophy for this 3-on-3 championship. So I'm going to stick around with our feed for that to hear what the general manager has
over
to
there
say.
Sitting with him, right? Sean McDermott's over there with Donnie Granato. The two of them just not really paying attention, just having a huge chat over there along with Terry Pagou and Kevin Adams.
Kisakov rips a shot high, gets it back again. Kisakov, nice pass!
Goal.
And that one is in the back of the net.
Johnson.
Johnson with the finish.
He was saving himself.
Yeah. Someone got him the puck there, and Kisakov with a nice shift to make that one happen. 16 seconds. 3-2 lead here for Robert over Perot as the puck is dumped down the ice in a roller. Richard backhand, and that one is stopped. That's Fleming in net now for Team White and Team Robert. I mean, that's just great that Sean McDermott's even here taking an interest in something like this. I mean, that's a coach having interest in development of players no matter what the sport.
Yeah, but different theories, too. Different theories of coaching, different ways of handling guys, all different. Obviously, you're not talking about, you know, the way of playing and all that kind of thing, but you're talking about how to handle guys, how to different individuals, and how to develop them.
Ernson to Benson. That's broken up. 5:15 to go. A little one-on-one drill here. Constantini, good speed. And a nice stop by Josh Fleming. Keeps it at 3-2 Team Robert, who come back the other way.
Constantini knew he had a forward defending him there, really turned the Jets on and took advantage of that opportunity to get around him low with the shoulder.
Mariella tried to find Benson in front, but good D in front of the net. That time pass knocked down by Max Sturback. Shodin backing up at the blue line. Gets in the feet a little bit. That pass from Shirk. Regroup inside their own end, and now Team Perot looking to tie it up. Shodin at the face-off dot, lost it a little bit. Good play defensively. As Niehaus got his stick in there. Panoke able to tip that one ahead. Now Savoie. 3 back already for Team Perot as that is knocked down by Sentenfelter, and it'll restart quickly here for Team Perot. Shodin's got a man going to the net. There's a deflection and a good save. Fleming again. Benson with a 1-goal game. His team with the lead. Jake Richard battling off the boards. The other thing with Benson, the way he competes like that, he's drawn other players in that same kind of fight. It was Jake Richard there who put up the same battle. Benson, though, comes back the other way, cuts to the middle of the ice, walks in, behind the net, trying to center that one in front, intercepted, and now a 2-on-1 as Richard will carry up ice. Kisakov with him. Richard holds it, makes the move, pad save at the post, kept out, and now a chance for a break. Lead pass. Johnson's going to get back defensively.
Oh.
Sentenfelter makes the first save. Come right back at him again, and a fourth goal for Team Robert.
Victor Neochev again.
With 4 minutes to go.
Neochev played the entire year in the KHL with men. Learned to get good sleep habits, pay attention to what he's putting in his body. Another guy that should be prepared to make a pretty good transition to the AHL despite some of the cultural adaptation.
I'd like to learn sleep habits myself. Another shot that gets it back to a 1-goal game there. That one was ripped.
I'd like to learn the good things to put in your body.
Constantini.
It's one of the benefits of a young player.
I can sleep no problem.
Playing against men, though, right? You start to take it more seriously, right?
2-on-1 here. Bergstrom sends it across. That's in the back of the net. Great feed. Good patience before making that pass.
Mariala again.
Yep.
Making an impression late here.
2:09 to go. Play broken up for a moment. Sturback. All right, shift change here, and you can tell that Team Perreault, as they come firing off the bench here, know they need one quickly. Savoie for Team Robert. Plays it in across the line, takes a return pass. Yochev's shot, that one is stopped. Sentenfelter got a piece of that. Play forced outside the line. Out towards center ice. Niehaus with 90 seconds to go. Yochev across the line. Savoie looking to ice it here with what would be the 6th goal of the game for Team Robert in this final game. But now a chance for Chaudin with 1:11 to go. His team down by a pair. Chaudin fires a shot off the inboards.
Well, Timmy Kennedy not pulling his goaltender here. Only a minute left, down 2. I think he's might be sleeping on the bench.
He's just gave him the sign for
stay.
Yeah. Or where we're having breakfast.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. Richard now with 45 seconds. And off the bench, Constantini for Johnson. He sends it down to the faceoff dot. Richard with a one-timer. In the back of the net, we've got ourselves a 1-goal game with 34 seconds to go.
Oh, there's a goalie coming back in. 4 guys on the ice. Fans are up on arms about this.
They are on the Team Robert bench for sure. 24 seconds. They need the puck back, though, Team Perreault.
I think the ref's last name might be Kennedy, not sure.
Benson with an almost empty net. Couldn't get the shot away. Kisakov has 14 seconds to feed it ahead. In the championship game, 10 seconds. Johnson's gone to the net, stick on the ice. They can't get it out front. 5 seconds, it's centered. Benson is there with 2 seconds and an empty net.
Off the post.
Team Robert, 6-4 winners. Win the 3-on-3 Buffalo Sabres Development Camp tournament. And I dare say everybody was pretty well entertained. It wasn't like one player stood out at all. I think everybody had their hand in this.
No, and I think that's the good thing that we talked about earlier. Yeah. You know, every game it seemed like there was 1 or 2 guys that stood out, and the next game it was somebody else. I think, you know, overall there was a couple guys that had really good games from start to finish, but the goaltending I thought was very good for the chances that were given up. You know, it seemed the speed was very good. They all stayed intense with it. They all took it very seriously, which you like to see. So it was a good morning.
Last year we walked away from the 3-on-3 tournament talking about Devin Levi, Eric Portillo, kind of a goaltending duel. This year you're going to walk away from good feelings about the goaltending that you saw, but so many other standout performances from the skaters today.
Yeah. I mean, the first time you saw TJ Sentenfelter's name and you'd never seen it before, you thought, okay, what do we have here? And clearly in the all the syllables of that name, is a very talented player. So nice to see him. Fleming did a good job. They all did. I mean, Harry and Fleming splitting the duties.
The big thing is with some of these kids too, you know, having these camps like this, kids that aren't signed and not part of their organization, whether they're invites or they're playing for something else as well. Because, you know, if a kid had a good camp, there's other teams that are going to be willing to maybe invite them to their main camp, all that kind of thing. So there's opportunities for them, and they're not just playing for a spot here. Sometimes they're looking to show themselves off, to try to sell themselves to somebody else.
Lawson Shirk's a great example of that. Yep. He probably wants to come to development camp, right?
Here's General Manager Kevin Adams. They just gave him a microphone, and he's really hoping that this mic is going to work. Kevin wants to address the crowd here and also the players. And he's a little worried about blowing eardrums out of the building. All right, well, that's a nice ceremony, and you know what was neat? Rob talked about it. You know, Bob Mowry comes out with the trophy, and I think it was just in Benson. Zach Benson was ready to come out and accept it, but he stopped himself, and he tapped one of his teammates and said, "You go get it." I don't think you can overstate that type of personality in a group. And any one of us who have been in a team sport at any point in time, you get that, and you see, and you think, I'll do anything for that guy. He just tapped on the skate of player, Joe, whoever, and said, "You go get the trophy. I'm good."
Not only that, Dan, he just put the trophy right at center ice.
Yeah,
like not in front of their
not
team,
in front of him, in front of everybody.
in front
everybody,
of the entire group.
Exactly. So a good development camp certainly was had this year. A lot of promise with these young players. And again, yes, it matters as human beings, but also the end game here, let's not forget, is to win a Stanley Cup. And it's to get back there again and again and again and again. And you only do that when you have a hockey department that wins a draft And you can classify winning a draft however you want. Hitting on 1, 2, or 3. I don't care what the number is. But you got to hit. You got to have wins at the draft. And talent-wise, I think we certainly saw that today, that there are a lot of wins that have been had in recent drafts here for the Buffalo Sabres. And then the other win on top that, we added on here is the fact that this is a really kind of cool group of young men who one day hope to be here and do this in the big building next door and have some hardware to skate around in front of their fans. So
I think, Dan,
wins all around.
Today's event was just confirmation about the buzz that's around this team. And we saw some great players here today. And just keep in mind, we didn't see Yuri Kulik.
Yeah.
We didn't see Matthew Savoy. We didn't see Isak Rosane. We didn't see Lucas
Yeah.
Rusek. We didn't see Tyson Kozak, right?
But that in part, I think, is the cool part of this, and it's really a barometer of, like I say, where the organization is finally at. They're not here for a good reason, is that they earned it, because a lot of people are already talking about them as if they are Sabres, and they haven't even earned that yet, right? I mean, they got to go to camp. They got to earn that. You're not just penciled in because you had a good playoff. You still got to go to camp. You got to earn it. You're penciled in, but the pen's not there yet. Anyway, listen, pleasure working with you. One heck of a golfer, 100 times better than yours truly. So it's good to get out on the course. Even better to work with you here today. You did a great job, by the way. And to Rob Ray, who kept up his tradition, he is long gone by the time the broadcast is done. So he didn't have to run across the ice, but Razor, ladies and gentlemen, has left the building. Have yourselves a great day. And listen, we'll talk to you again once training camp begins for the Buffalo Sabres. And hey, it's only a few weeks away, and we get hockey going one more time. I'm Dan Dunleavy on behalf of all our technical crew here at Lecom Harbor Center. Have yourself a great rest of the summer, and we hope to see you soon.